the country, but I'm here with Emma Ford of the famous Phillip Dutton Eventing. If everyone can see her.
Hi.
Give us a thumbs up if you can.
Everybody can see me.
This is a good test.
Everyone's just going to have to bear with us.
Can see. Oh yeah, most people in technology, it's not a streamlined situation.
No.
All right.
Definitely, I'm not very helpful in this situation.
I'm not getting any thumbs up. Oh, it says live with Emma Ford. So that must be us.
Okay, so anybody that knows me, text me if you're watching this and let me know it's working. How about that?
That's a really good idea. Actually, you know what? We could give away the first prize to the first person that comments. That's not the worst idea.
Oh, no. Otherwise, we'll just enjoy chatting to each other, Winnie. It's fine.
I love catching up with you. So, hey, it's all good, right? You know what? This is like a very honored first person time slot. So we're both just troubleshooting it together. It's like the camaraderie part that, when everyone falls off on cross country day, what are we going to do, right?
Yeah. But I'm very honored you picked me as first, but you probably should have used someone a little bit more technic who could have helped you out a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have the best attitude out of everybody, so it's impressive.
Hi, Finley. I know Finley.
Oh my goodness. Oh, did she say, oh my gosh, Finley's here. Hi, Emma. It's a miracle. Okay, this is good. All right, should we just go for it? Let's go for it.
Just go for it. And
hi, guys. I love it. Here, Valkyrie Sport Horses with Emma Ford. Emma, why don't you give us a little intro? I think everyone knows you because you're awesome and super famous Pro Groom. But a couple words about what you're up to and where you're coming from.
Oh, my Lord. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I've worked at Phillip Dutton since 2005 now. So I've been there a while. And I've actually been in the States since 98. So definitely America's now my home. Obviously originated from England. And just what used to ride, but I was in Boston for 7 years, and at the end of that, I really started grooming and took a flight over to England for Blenheim 3-star with the horses, and that was what piqued my interest in grooming. And then the job with Phillip opened up, and it was sort of a logical step it was the only way I was going to get to the Olympics or wherever. It certainly wasn't going to be through riding, so...
I bet you're fabulous.
Oh, dear. Love it. I mean, you were there.
We met,
right? You were
yeah. I think 05 or 06.
Yeah. Because you came to the first Open, we went
back.
Down.
We go way back.
Yeah. No, we're just old.
Yes, that was a very. That was an adventurous trip, that's for sure. Oh man. Well,
right.
What do you think is your favorite? Sorry for a little bit of delay. I'll talk slower. We're both in the country, so such is the connectivity. But what would you say your all-time favorite moment as a head groom would be?
Yeah, I don't have an all-time favorite. I have a couple all-time favorites, and so I'm one of those people. I hate sort of picking out things because I've been so blessed to work with so many amazing horses and everything. But obviously, the initial one would have been in 2008 when Phillip won Kentucky on Connaught. That horse was very, very special. I'm sure you remember Simon. He was very quirky. And when I first started at Phillips, he was sort of the low man on the totem pole within the upper level horses. Like the girls at the barn sort of like, oh, he's such a pain in the ass. But I sort of took him under my wing and was like, no, I like quirky. I'm going to make him mine. And so me and him had a very special bond, and eventing wasn't easy for him, but he was just had the biggest heart. So when he took Kentucky, that was pretty amazing. And there were probably more tears shed that, Sunday afternoon than I've cried at a funeral, to be honest. Just that emotional.
Actually, just the idea.
I know. You know how they've come back this weekend. I've been like crying all weekend watching my horses go cross country. But and then obviously the Rio Olympics 2016 with Mighty Nice. I mean, that's again, I can't even add into words. So, but obviously pretty magical. Up until you know what the result is, it's just stress and stomach aches and headaches, and because you just it's a very it's a balancing act that you can't show your stress, and hopefully the horses aren't reading on your stress because you want them to feel good and not pick up on any of your stresses. So but obviously unfortunately when Chris Burton took the rails, and then we knew we'd taken the bronze, that was when we were celebrating. But on another, magical time. So those are my top two.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Those are pretty awesome top twos, I have to say. Just like, it gets me excited just hearing about it, just thinking about being there.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
What would you say is the absolutely? What would you say is the biggest grooming mistake you see when you're out and about or even at home that you wish people would know about and correct? You wish you could just go up and talk to everybody about it.
We could be talking pet peeves here, maybe.
Yes.
At shows.
Yes. Pet peeves. Yeah. Give it yes.
At shows, I feel, and this could be more personal, but I feel everybody overdoes the bathings with shampoo. Yes, we want our horses to be clean, but just be relying on shampoo to get them clean. And it does strip their coats and takes away their natural ability to fight skin conditions. So, I'm someone that when I'm at a show, they have their one sort of bath on the Thursday afternoon, and then they'll probably only get rinsed after dressage, and they might get a rinse after cross country, depending. And again, it depends on the time of season, right? You go to Fair Hill and you're in the mud, then you're probably going to have to shampoo to get it out. But in the summer at Maryland when it's bone dry, you don't really need to be shampooing. You can, a good rinse will do a good job. So I definitely feel over shampooing at shows. And taking the time to hand walk your horses, like so many of these horses at shows do have a lot of turn. One great thing about event horses, right? I feel we let them be closest to natural as within compared to any of the other disciplines. Then at shows, everybody gets so involved in the riding. I feel a lot of time isn't taken enough to like get the horses out their stalls and keep them walking and stuff. And yeah, I get it. I definitely, there are times when I have too many horses at a show and certainly don't get them out enough. But I'm always like, if there's, never ask me what can I do. It's like take a horse and get out the stall. If you got 5 minutes. So those are my two things.
Those are really good ones. What? Sorry.
No. You go.
Oh, well, I was going to say, sorry about the delay, and for everyone who's hanging with us, I'm in a farm in North Carolina, and you're up in West Grove, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's the delay. We're all good. We can handle it. If you had a perfect schedule for a upper level competitive horse at an event where you had to stable away, what would their life look like sort of basically throughout the day at a show?
So if it was just one horse and any given day, I actually would get to the barn, regular feed, whatever time's required, let them eat. And I make that early enough that I can get them out and hand graze them and walk them before Phillip normally pre-rides. So I try to get them out of their stalls prior to Phillip pre-riding them. And I try and time my day that I don't have to be rushing like crazy to get everything done. So, because I feel that horses feed on that stress. So if you have a bit of a hot horse, then, they feed off of that and they start to get frazzled. So, walk them prior to the pre-ride. I try very hard to, after the pre-ride, I'll take them out so that they dry, but also just so they're not in their stalls. And then I try and give them a period of time, and that might be an hour or 2 hours, but they are in their stalls and they can just rest and, sort of meditate basically, and hopefully know that they're going to behave before I start prepping them for whatever. But yeah, before I start prepping them for whatever, part of the competition it is. And then again, they go out, they compete, they come back. And actually, as soon as whether it's dressage, cross country, or show jumping, the first thing I actually do is put them straight in their stalls so that I untack, let them have a drink, let them have a pee. And then I go to the wash stalls and wash them off, take them outside, and, hopefully keep them out for a bit. So depending on what time of day they've competed, I'd be then bringing them back in again, leaving them quiet, let them have dinner. And then again, they would go out in the afternoon, late evening, ideally, and have, more grass. So, yeah, I'm very fortunate that a lot of our upper level horses live out at home. So that it is very important that I get them out as much as I can when it goes.
I think that's fantastic. It's like you're setting up these little, like you said it perfectly, meditative spaces for our horses. So much is focused on, the physical performance. I think that both horses and riders need more of that, mental focusing or downloading time. So I love the idea of taking them to the stall before the wash rack, because usually it's like busy, 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 go to the wash rack. Oh my gosh, But if they're fit and conditioned well, it shouldn't be a super emergency to get them to the wash rack, I would think.
Right. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you want to do our first giveaway prize with a trivia question before we really get started?
Are people ready to hang on? I've become all prepared. So you guys, the first giveaway is for this. Hello. Is that my show? Oh yeah, there we go.
I have one too.
You guys have to work for it. Aren't we doing the first person that tells us the year this book, World Class Grooming for Horses, was published?
Mm-hmm. And you have to write it in the comments so we see it. So bring it on, guys. Who wants this amazing book? I feel like Oprah.
I
know, right? And we'll keep rambling on, and I'll watch for your guys' answers. And as soon as we get that first person in, I'm going to bring it up. So, we have someone, Sarah Reed, a Brit in Canada, is joining us. So great of you guys to join in and listen.
Cool. Hello, Canada.
Hello. And before we really get going, oh my gosh, we've got so many answers. We had a 2018, but then a couple of right ones. Whoop, whoop.
Awesome.
All right, so looks like we have a winner, and we will be mailing this to you along with a Valkyrie Sport Horses hat. because who needs, everyone needs to keep the sun off your head. So that's where we are. Very, very cool. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations when the name shows up. Actually, it looks like you guys, since we're newbies to this, I think you have to type your name in as well as your answer. So, whoever typed in better type in again with your name, so then we can call you out loud. It's like we have to do it again, but the ones who are really listening will hear. So it's all good. We have a question. Can you see that question, Emma?
No, nothing's coming up.
Do you have any tricks for protecting the front? Nothing on your end. Naughty computer. I'll read it to you.
Yeah.
Hi, Emma. I have a question. Do you have any tricks for protecting the front of a horse's legs from rubs when they lay down in the field or get on their knees to eat the fence line? We are currently trying bell boots upside down. That's a good question. Naughty pounds, right?
Yeah. Eating the fence. So the biggest problem when the rubs from on the front of their ankles is it's very hard to actually protect them. If your horse is out 24/7, it's not like you want to put some sort of polos or boots or anything on, right? Because you can't do that. And the bell boot works for some, but not for others. I have come across tubey grip material. Equifit do a what they call a silver socks. And for those of you that don't know, tubey grip, like if you break your arm, or it's a compression sock, basically. If you have varicose veins, you can go and buy compression stockings that are meant to help. So tubey grip's the same idea. If you break your arm, it's the first thing they put on your arm before they put the plaster around your arm. And we use them a lot. And I have used them in the past to try and prevent, the minor scrapes. But taking care of those scrapes tends to be the bigger deal, which, again, you're looking at wounds that are trying to stay open. And a lot of the time it's the flies that cause them to stay open. So making sure you can keep flies off the wound. Manuka honey is the best thing for closing those wounds. But without getting into real, medical issues, why, they shouldn't really be, because it tends to be knuckling when they do that. It tends to be because they're knuckling when they go down to sleep. So you got to question, like, why are they doing that? You broke.
That's all right.
So
interesting.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, is it in a particular place that your horse lies down? Like, does he always lie down in the same area? If he does, can you maybe change the footing a bit? I know a couple of my horses have one spot in particular, they always like to lie down. So maybe you can add some sort of, try adding, I don't know whether you do shavings or straw or something there that makes it more cushiony. If you think your horse does, use one spot, and obviously that can be difficult. I understand that, but it's just a little something else you can do if necessary. But I definitely don't have the out and out answer, I'm afraid. If you find out, let me know.
Well, I mean, with horses, it's always so individual, isn't it? I mean, it's just about creativity and doing what you can with your specific barn and your specific horse. And you're so amazing at being attentive to all of your horses as individuals. And I've always really admired that about you, that it's not just one size fits all, horses go here or there. It's, really taking into account their personality. I love that. Let's see. Yeah. We have more questions for you.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy. Yeah. Oh, good. I like it.
Oh, yeah, bring it on, right? Let's see, from some of our VIP members on Valkyrie Sport Horses Facebook page, some questions about coat care. How do you keep a dark horse dark, a white horse white? I mean, just stay your colors, kids, right? So how do we do that?
Oh, good luck. It's the same. It's if I had $1 million, or if I had come up the invention. So I think there are obviously the very practical ways, which is not to fade a horse, only turn it out at night. Which for some people that's not a possibility, right? So they're on 27 out. So what are we going to do if that's the case? The use of fly sheets, a lot of them have UV protection now, definitely can help that situation. But what you have to understand is obviously the fly sheets don't cover all their legs. It doesn't cover their faces. Like, how are we going to do that? And there are some type of sunscreen sprays for horses to help prevent fading them. The two I've used, I feel have helped, are the Absorbin Santa Fe that comes in an orange bottle, and the Sunflower Sun Coat by Healthcare. Tongue twister. Healthy Horse Care. Those two are the two I like to use, and you do have to use, you have to apply it every day. Put on your sheet and apply that to those areas that the sheet are not covering. If you cannot use a fly sheet, then obviously you can cover their bodies in it. There is a lot of people will be familiar with the idea of paprika. A lot of the Black as Night supplements all have paprika in them, which is actually, you have to be very careful. That does test. So if you use it, you have to know your withdrawal times. So it is a supplement that you put in their feed, and it should only be about a week to 10 days. But you absolutely, that is your responsibility. If you use it, your responsibility to figure out the withdrawal times. But a lot of people don't start using it until the spring, which by then the horses, growth cycle is already set in. So you're not going to change it. So if you want it to help at all, you need to start using it in the winter. So it's one of those. I mean, if you feel it helps and you need to start using it, just use it. But don't think, I'll start in April and I'll magically have this black coat, because your horse has actually already started its natural growth cycle. So it's not going to change the color all of a sudden it produces when it sheds. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Unfortunately, no amazing. Yeah. And then the other thing too is sweat. I mean, sweat fades the coat. So if your horse lives out and in the summer they come in and super sweaty, just hose them down to get rid of the sweat. Don't let the sweat stay on them. And I think that's if your horse is in a situation that you can hose them down on a regular basis, as I say, during the really hot weather, then that should help you theoretically. But good luck is what I pretty much say.
Thanks. Pray for us, really. How about the white horses white? Like their tails pure ketchup. I know.
Yeah. Again, it takes when it comes to their coats, you've got to be ahead of the game. You're not going to make a difference, the day before the show. You have to be truly ahead of the game. And, I've got friends that have great horses, and there isn't a day goes by where they're not somehow removing the stains. And it might just be a spot cleaner during the winter, but they're always getting rid of the stains on a daily basis. So you got to be very dedicated. When it comes to tails, a little trick that we have used is you can use Dawn. We'd like to use it with Dawn, and you can use purple shampoo, like Shepley's Equitone. Really, like, wash the tail really well, and then take baking soda and mix it with vinegar and make a paste. Basically, paste the tail.
Wow.
So you're going to literally have this paste, and you let that sit on. Whoa. And then you can wash it out with vinegar, and then you want to condition it with some sort of conditioner to try and hold it. And the problem with this way of doing it is I would say do a test area, like on a few, sort of like the back end of the tail, because it can, depending on your water, if you have like high mineral levels, it might not come out as well as if you have less minerals in your water. So it all depends on water quality too.
Oh, that's so interesting. Is there a type of vinegar? Oh, we crossed over again. But when my audio gets to you, is there a specific type of vinegar that you like for that?
Just like distilled white vinegar.
Oh, okay. Oh, so cool. I'm gonna have to try that, because that is man, the clay gets in the horse's tail and it's over. I mean, just game over. We do have another question from a Facebook user, which leads us into our second prize giveaway. Okay. How do you groom a very sensitive horse? Because I know you're a really big proponent of lots of grooming. And what if they hate it? Lusty hates it. And so any tips would be great.
Yeah. It is difficult, and I advise people to really play, try and have on hand different curries and different brushes. Don't just expect the horse to accept what is in your grooming box. Connor was a very big example of this. Like, he hated being curried, and the one he was this, just a very flexible, rubber curry, and I could groom him forever with that particular curry. And he'd actually, once, it takes time for them to get used to it, but then I could add more pressure, and I could do a good job. So I always tell people to, find what works for your horse. Start in the area that they will allow you to curry. They normally have one area, and that might be, for a lot of horses, along the crest, where they, that tends to be a good itchy spot. Get them enjoying that before you move. Don't just always go to the worst areas first. I do have one horse that is very sensitive, and I can do his butt, but he's very sensitive around the shoulders. So I start at the butt and go, okay, we're doing this. And then we work our way forward. And by the time I got forward, he's over it, and he's like, okay, well, I'll accept it now.
So cute.
So using, be patient, be thoughtful. I do, this isn't the giveaway, but just to show you, these hands-on gloves are really good for sensitive horses, and you can use as much pressure as you want them for washing. But our giveaway, and I find these really, really good for sensitive horses, is the posture prep. Everybody see that?
Tell us more. Yeah, we can see.
You can see the little tool here. Okay, so the posture prep, I have numerous tools I really love, and I hate it when people say pick one, because I feel like I don't do justice to all. I need to do justice to all of them. But the posture prep is a curry that I is molded basically to as a easy to hold. But the technique you use goes with the skin and helps you move the skin. So think about putting on a really tight pair of jeans. It's not that comfortable. Think about if your horse's skin is tight, it's not that comfortable. He's not that flexible. And a lot of the times these horses that are sensitive, it's because they have very tight skin. So this product and this techniques helps the skin. You start to move the fascia, which is what's holding the skin down. And then once you start to move the fascia and they start to loosen up, you will more than likely find your horse will become he will enjoy the grooming process. And the great thing about this product is it comes with a whole manual technique used. And, you know, once he enjoys it, it's basically a mini massage that you can give your horse every day. So who doesn't like that?
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, eventually they've got to love it.
Yeah.
What'd you say there, Ella? Oh, the question.
So you asked the question on this one.
Okay. Are you guys ready? What is the largest organ of your horse, of any horse? Answer below with your name and the answer. And the prize is yours. Let's see who's going to get this. Biggest organ, guys. I mean, stomach is big, but this one's even bigger. And speaking of the last prize winner, Tanya Jackman won the book, the World Class Grooming Book and Valkyrie Sport Horses hat. So we have at least one winner today.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Oh,
I'm looking at this best. I think I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. Okay, so the best turnout boots for a horse that kicks himself in the back hock.
How?
That's interesting. He currently uses professional boots while ridden. He runs around like a madman whilst he's turned out. Maybe I shouldn't have picked this question because I'm like, how is he kicking himself? Hang on. Does she change it? Does she mean Aston?
She meant Pastor.
Maybe, is that what that
yes.
do you see where I'm
posted below? Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So that seems like better. So you can get the Paston bands, which are pretty inexpensive, cheap. And they're just a band that go around with a piece of Velcro. Depending on how he's kicking himself, like as he doing it this way, you might want to think about what we call a sausage boot, which is literally a round tube that goes around the pastern, and then it does that with a buckle, and it stops the horse from catching the pastern. The more expensive way to go, I do know Equifit makes these. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's probably other brands, but Equifit are the ones I use. And they make a hind fetlock boot with an insert that literally covers the inside of the pastern, and it doesn't touch the ground, but it goes down to basically the top of the coronet band. So that would, if he gets himself really bad, that would be where I would go. And what does he use? He wears brushing boots while ridden,
like a SM.
So yeah, I would. I'm thinking I'm not really sure what the professional choice SMB is. I'm thinking that's a Paston band. So you might want to think about the donut boot first. Look up the donut boot, but also look up the Equifit. I think they're called extended hind boots. And
okay.
They, and I'm sure other companies do them that will probably do them, a better price, but it's definitely worth looking up. So hopefully that will help you there.
I love the idea of the sausage with the buckle. That's just makes me hungry, but yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
We do have another question for the last prize. Where can you get the posture prep if you don't happen to win it today?
Actually, very easy, accessible online. However, if you go to Posture Prep, now I've got to think about this. Dr. Bonner, which is Boner. If you go to her website and in WCG, World Class Grooming, but just WCG, you should actually get some money off, a discount.
Ooh.
So, that if you
like that
website, you can go through that. You should to get money off. And if you can't find that, email me and I'll figure it out and get back to you.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
It's about, I think everywhere pretty much has it now, but you get a better price if you go on her website.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I save a couple dollars for show season whenever it begins. And we have Ashley won the posture prep with her answer of skin being the largest organ in the body. Congratulations, Ashley.
Awesome.
All right. Lots of good answers there. Ooh, fantastic. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, rain rot. That was a big topic that came up when I asked my rain rot, especially the ears and the legs. Nightmares, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We gave you the worst questions.
Yeah. So this is where sort of how you care for it comes into play, because a lot of people do a lot of scrubbing. And I do believe you need to get rid of the scabs first. But if you over scrub with a chemical or with betadine, then you really are stripping the leg of its own natural way of getting rid of that type of thing. And also realize, like, when you overwash and you soften the skin too much, and for you guys in sand, people using shavings, like, it's the micro abrasions that type of surface causes that allow the bacteria or the fungus to get in and start the whole process of rain rot. So, and what they get on their legs, actually, just so we're clear, what they get on their legs, I think I have this the right way around, tends to be bacterial, but what they rain rot, like what you see on their backs, if they've been living outside for a long time, that's actually more fungal. So that's why you've got to be careful of, like, I'm treating it back to, some people will buy a triple antibiotic, but it's fungal. That's antibacterial isn't going to, get rid of it. So you do have to, know what is that. Are you dealing with something bacterial or are you dealing with something with fungal, but for the leg, I have, I don't have one with me, but MTG I really like. I will use that. And then these are my other two products. See, I am prepared. I'm like really fun.
I'm impressed.
So this is Skin Mend. Where's my I know. Okay. I'm myself. Oh, wrong way.
We got it.
This is by Equinature.
Okay.
Okay, good. It's chemical non-toxic. And you can use it on yourself and it smells amazing. But once you get the scabs off, this is amazing at healing those irritated areas. Okay. So this is one of my top products, and I use this for everything. Like, anytime they get like just small abrasions, I'm putting this on. So this is a really good one. If you've got a horse that is super susceptible, and he always develops that kind of thing, then the zinc has Equinature's zinc cream. Wrong way. There we go.
Zinc, I love it. Okay. Yeah.
And put this, and this again is something you can use on insect bites, because it helps draw out the inflammation from an insect bite or a skin rash or scratches, or this, because of the tea tree, this is actually fungal and bacteria helps against
nice.
both fungal and bacteria. So, but what I love about this is I will put a layer of this on them before I turn them out, and it helps protect the skin from any more bacteria or anything getting in there. But it also helps heal the skin whilst it's protecting it. So this is one of my top products. So the ears, obviously, you need to be a little bit, if you've got a horse with sensitive ears, I use a lot of witch hazel and just clean them out softly with witch hazel. And then I actually use like an aloe tea tree conditioner by Equinature to help with the ears. So those are my go-to.
That's awesome.
So MTG, Equinature products.
Now, I guess one follow-up on that I have a question about, because we are in the sand hills in Southern Pines, North Carolina here. Lots of sand, lots of microabrasions, as you just said. Is there a specific product you should use to take the scabs off that is not too harsh? Or do you prefer just water and being gentle?
Anything that is just like non-chemical. So, or I might even use just ivory soap that is non-toxic. Okay. But anything. But I do, if you've got the scabs, then I like to apply either a zinc cream or like MTG for a 12-hour period, and then go to washing with something that suds up that is non-toxic, non-chemical. And, really think about really using your hands. Don't use your curry, or a lot of people use those, like bath loofahs these days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like fuzzy or like squishy, right? Yeah.
What are they called? I think that's too harsh. You use that every day and it's too harsh on the legs. So just, think about just using your hands. You don't cause any more microabrasions. And then obviously drying the legs is super, super important. Don't leave that environment to get warm and moist. So definitely dry the legs as best you can before they go back into a stall or outside.
Oh, that is fantastic advice. Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm going to try that. That's for sure. Let's see. We've got another question. Yarn versus braids. Okay. The great debate. I mean, what is your stance on this? Pro or con?
Honestly, I'm not black and white about it. You do whatever you produce your best job at. So if you are good at braiding with bands, braid with bands. If you are good at braid with yarn, braid with yarn. What I do, I think if you have a horse with a very thin mane, bands are going to pull more mane out. If you like to braid the night before, again, think about yourself going to bed with your hair tied back tight with a band. Same on the horses. The yarn doesn't pull the hair as much as a band does if you are braiding the night before. But yeah, as the debate goes, I always say braid with the method that produces the best result. So, which is different for everybody.
This is true. Do you think horses get headaches from really tight bands or braids? Or I always wonder about that.
I don't know. I think it definitely. I definitely feel that they feel the pull. Like I would imagine it gets very tight. Their muscles around the crest can be very tight. So, and this, there are absolutely horses out there that will tell you, they don't want their braids in long. So, I've got a couple of horses that I have to braid the morning of. I wouldn't braid the night before because otherwise they have no mane.
Oh God, that's not a good look. Big Phil would not appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Should we give away another prize or another question? What do you guys think?
What, do we have any more questions from the
Let's see.
There's a sugar beet pro. Are you a pro or against sugar beet?
Yes.
Someone just wrote which angel. That's so British.
I love that one. Looks like so British.
Funny.
Well, I guess they're talking about beet pulp.
Yes. I use beet pulp. I use it as a added fiber source. That's the only reason I use it. I make sure it's non-molasses. I want the lowest sugar content possible. But yes, so if you, again, I think it's very, it's location, right? It's location. If you don't have good grass, if your hay isn't good and your horse more fiber, I think there's nothing wrong in feeding beet pulp. If you have amazing grass, amazing hay, and your horse carries good weight, why feed beet pulp? So I think there's absolutely, it's something to think about. If you're struggling with the quality of grass and hay in your area, it's definitely something you can use as added forage there. So fiber is what I'm getting at, right? When I say forage, you're adding fiber to their diets, which for us is all about reducing ulcers. The more fiber they eat, that's better for their stomachs, reduces the ulcers, carry on down the line. So.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, I guess then there's no harm in feeding it, even if they have a good weight, or could that make them push them over the edge with their body score?
I don't. I mean, literally my guys that are on it, they get what would probably weigh out as a pound in 2 of their meals a day. I personally haven't seen it, push a horse over the edge, but again, like this person says, everybody's got their opinion about it, right? So.
Yes, they do. It's true. Well, then maybe one more question and then one more prize. So we've got a lot of people asking about hoof care.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you keep your hooves from cracking? What are your favorite products for at home versus at show? Just a couple tips for our hoofed friends.
It's hoof care is a pain in the ass in this country, especially for us that move. Well, because we move, right? So we come from Pennsylvania that can be very wet, very dry clay, but then we go to Aiken or Florida where it's very sandy, and we're there long enough that the horses feel their change in their feet, and that's the biggest problem that we have over here. So for me personally, I have to change my hoof care according to where we are, and it's really how their feet look at that time in life almost. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something I'm like, oh, from September to December I use X. Every horse is a little different. So of course my favorite one is British, and it's very difficult to get over here. It's called Kevin Bacon dressing. And,
I'm so excited. Okay.
I actually managed to secure myself a pot in Florida this year, and it is amazing. Like, you can just see the hoof just gets such better moisture content in it. Awesome. And obviously in Florida, I really struggled because it's so dry down there this year, and the horses were starting to work hard. So, I was putting it on their soles and on their walls, sometimes twice a day, just to keep their feet in a good moisture content. I do use the Farrier's Fix hoof oil. I'm not saying it sort of promotes itself a little bit as though it can cure everything. I wouldn't necessarily say it can cure everything, but I do feel it's one of the more breathable oils. So I think not having petroleum in a hoof oil is very important. I don't having anything that's got the petroleum in creates that barrier, doesn't allow the hoof breathe, or so it doesn't allow water in or out. And obviously it needs to be able to do both. So checking whatever hoof oil you use, make sure it doesn't have petroleum in, I think is very important. And then at shows, I just use the Fibrings hoof dressing, which is just liquid hoof dressing that's a little bit darker and black. So, I'm not necessarily using it because it's going to solve a problem, but I do use it just because it's easy to apply. And, I can put it on in straw and the whole entire straw does not stick to, all the straw doesn't stick to the hoof, which is nice.
It's not a good look.
So, no. But yeah, I mean, there's so many products out there and they all say they're going to do amazing things. And, ultimately, nutrition plays a huge part. If you have a horse that has not great, thin walls, then putting it out, during fly season, during the middle of the day is not the ideal thing for that, because just stamping on its feet for flies, make sure he only goes out 3-4 hours a day. There are those management things that you need to do if you want to keep, have better feet. I've got one that now he lives out overnight, but when we really start to get into the warm season, he'll only go to 2 to 3 turnouts. Otherwise, it's 2 to 3 hours of turnout. Otherwise, his feet fall apart. And
oh my gosh,
that's him. Turning them out in, making sure if you're on 24-hour turnout and it's in the winter, they've got to have a dry patch that they can stand on, even when it's at the wettest wet conditions, and you might have to create that. You might have to somehow create that. There's all these mats now that, the self-draining mats that you put like pea stone in and stuff. And you've got to think about doing. So it's and then having a regular shoeing schedule is so important. Like, not just being, we'll go 4 weeks here and 5 weeks there, and like
experimental shoeing.
So important. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, one of the things I really would advise people to do is, especially now with all the phones, is take photos, just regular photos of your horse's feet at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season, and see how they change. You will see a difference in how they change, and maybe something can be done a bit differently at the beginning of the season. If you're like, well, they're cracking more here, or, the heels are rolling in here, or whatever, just take the photos and mark them as what dates they are, and take front and so side, lateral angles, and then just from the front, and see where your angles are in that, because that gives you information through a year of how your horse's feet change too.
That's a genius idea. It's always challenging trying to get us horse people to do technology things, but there is such a good benefit, right? I mean, we can do so much. We can watch our horse's movement. We can look at their feet throughout the season. Video coaching is something we're starting to do. It's kind of neat, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Ready for the last giveaway? It's the flare strip.
Okay. We're gonna give you 2.
Oh, that's
so
good.
2 flare strips. So I can say for anyone that doesn't know what flare strips do, they help open up the nasal passage of the horse when they're in heavy work, so the horse can take in more oxygen. And obviously, the more oxygen we get into the horses, and the better they recover, the easier that they find work. So this is always on my list to pack for competitions. So what's the question?
It's like a breathe right strip that we use for not snoring as humans, right?
Absolutely. That's where they came from.
That's awesome. It's genius. The question is, drum roll, what is the normal resting respiration rate for horses? Comment below with your name and the answer, and the first person who does those 2 things wins 2 flare strips and a Valkyrie Sports Horses hat. So let the games begin. And while they're thinking and commenting. Questions about flare strip. Is it, would you use it at all levels? Is there a certain time when it's like time for flare, you know?
Truly, I think that the great thing about this, it's not invasive. So if you can use it, use it, is the way I like to think about them. Why should every horse not gain the advantage of having more oxygen in its body?
Sure.
Obviously, we use them in cross country and show jumping. Obviously, we're not allowed to use them in dressage.
Yeah.
But you know, they're getting much widely used now in racing, endurance. Think, you know, so I think there's always a benefit for more oxygen. So to me, use it whenever you can. Obviously, if you do have, you know, maybe an older horse that isn't as fit as someone else, or maybe has a bit of, you know, it's not going to cure like COPD, but it may, you know, might help just with their breathing a little bit, or, you know, and as I say, anything specifically high level going cross country, without a doubt, it's very beneficial for those horses. So, how are we doing?
No, that's fantastic.
We've got
a lot of answers, but how picky are you going to be? Are we going to do the full range? Because I looked up exactly what is in your book, and it's a range.
It is a range. So I can't even remember the range I put in the book, so you might have to. Should I say the range? There's someone that's got the higher end good.
Yes.
All Pony Club kids with their C should know that. That's awesome.
It was a good comment,
someone's
right?
thinking
like,
I'm talking about. Yeah, someone's talking about beats per minute. I'm not talking about the heart. So actual,
or the temperature, guys.
About the temperature. Yeah.
Yep, we're talking about breaths per minute. Let's see. Kelly's got a pretty close one. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I think. Should we give them a couple more minutes?
I think we should give them, because we've given the hint that it's a range, so this is good.
Yeah.
I'll give another hint. The range is 24 breaths wide, long. So make sure that that's happening. Oh, goodness. Somebody just said it, but they didn't say their name. So whoever just answer with your name.
Oh, no.
Hey, we've got Neve, 10 to 24.
There we go. And
right,
you know, that's again, I think it's important to say that, you know, some horses there's going to be outliers, right? Like a super fit horse might only be 8 per minute, and it might, you know, some horses 16. So 24 is definitely on the higher side of a resting rate for any horse, but it is a wide range. And, you know, what we say is probably very different to what Pony Club says, what's different to the veterinary next door that says so. But it's just very, you know, I'm always very, you know, people should know just what is your own horse's, you know, regular resting breathing rate. They should know the TPR so that you have that information if there's an abnormal to that. So go take your TPRs, people.
Yes. Maybe we'll have a TPR challenge. Everyone in 24 hours, post your horse's TPR on a Valkyrie Sport Horses, and we'll compare notes. That'll be fun.
There you go.
Yeah, cool. Well, man, I had so much fun catching up with you today, Emma. It's been real. And everyone who joined us, this is so cool. We're definitely going to have to do this again. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all you guys for joining. And hopefully you've all walked away with a little extra knowledge. Use this time to practice your braiding or practice your bandaging or all those things that you're not great at.
Absolutely.
So
Braiding,
perfect time
definitely.
Yes. Now you could maybe start getting faster at it.
Oh, maybe. Well, anyone who won a prize, please feel free to PM me and we'll get together and make sure you get shipped your goods. Stay safe, everybody, and until next time, see you later.
All right, until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.